So for this question, we have to find the missing length, okay, for the sides of these squares. And we're given the area, and we've got to use the formula A equals side squared or S squared to find the length. So let's use that and let's see what we come up with. So A, which is area, equals S squared. Okay, so let's rewrite the equation and plug in the values we know. We know what A is. A is 25, so let's put 25 in, and we don't know the rest, so side squared. We're trying to figure out what a side is. So what we want to do now is we want to try and isolate the S so that we end up with something that looks like S equals and then a number. So how do we get rid of squaring? So let's do the opposite of squaring, which is finding the square root. And what we do to one side, we've got to do to the other side. By doing that, I get rid of the squaring and I'm left with S, which is what I want. The square root of 25, I'm thinking of a number that multiplied by itself is going to be 25. You can use your calculator for this. There's a square root button on your calculator. But I know just from my basic facts that it's 5 times 5, which equals 25. So the square root of 25 is 5. I should write that properly. This should come to this side, so make side equal 5. I'm talking about meters, so say meters. It's not squared because I'm just measuring length. It says so here. I just want the length. Length is not squared, so it should be that. Okay, next one over here is same deal. I use the formula A equals S squared. I do know what A is, so let's rewrite and substitute what I know. I'm given 81, so it's not A anymore. I know the value of A, that's 81. And now I need to find out what S squared is. I have to get rid of the squared, so and that will help me isolate the S. So how do I do that? I get the square root of S squared. Now that cancels out squaring because the square root is the opposite of squaring. So I'm left with S, which comes down. And on this side, I do the same thing. I find the square root of 81. Again, what times what? It has to be the same number is going to equal 81. Again, you can use your calculator, but I know through my times tables that it's 9 times 9 equals 81. Therefore, the square root of 81 is 9. And so the correct way to write that out is S equals 9. We're talking about meters, and that is the correct answer. So each side is worth 9 centimeters. Last one here, the area is 4 centimeters squared, so let's just go through the same process. Okay, that's the formula we're using. I know what A is, so rewrite this formula with what I know. It's 4 centimeters, and I still don't know any of these numbers. I need to isolate the S so that I'm left with just S on this side. So the opposite of squaring is the square root. That gets rid of that, and I'm left with S on this side. Got to do the same to the other side. Square root of 4, so what times what is going to equal 4? I know it should be 2 times 2. That does equal 4. These are both the same numbers. So the correct answer, the square root of 4 is 2. Let's write it out properly. S equals 2 centimeters. And that is correct.